Stop asking for something easy, just because someone told you that's what a woman your age is supposed to want. It's 2026, and the old rule that safe hair equals smart hair is officially over. Yet most women over 60 are still walking out of the salon with the exact same helmet-shaped cut they had a decade ago, and it's quietly adding 10 years to how they look. Here's what nobody tells you at the salon. Easy and usual aren't neutral choices. That request is doing real damage to your jawline, your eyes, the whole shape of your face. It's not a small thing. A haircut is the single fastest change you can make to how old or how young your whole face reads. Faster than any cream, any procedure, any amount of makeup. Skincare takes months. A great cut takes 45 minutes, and you walk out looking different before you even reach your car. And there's one cut on this list, number 4, that almost every woman over 60 is still asking for, without realizing it's the one quietly aging her the most. We'll get there. Welcome back to Timeless Tresses, where we prove that style only gets sharper with age. If looking like the most confident woman in the room, at any age, is your thing, the subscribe button is right there. Let's get straight into it. Hairstyle 1. The architectural bob cut number 1 isn't a mistake you're making. It's the cut you've probably been too scared to ask for. The architectural bob. I completely understand the hesitation. We're told bobs are safe, soft, rounded, the kind of cut that just sits there and behaves. But that's exactly the version that ages you. And it's not your imagination. There's a real physical reason a soft, round bob reads older than it should. Here's the mechanism. As we age, gravity pulls everything down and inward. The jawline softens, the neck shortens visually, the corners of the mouth drift. A rounded, soft bob mirrors that downward pull instead of fighting it, which means your hair is quietly agreeing with gravity instead of arguing with it. A blunt, architectural line, cut sharp, not rounded, not feathered, acts like a visual stop sign. It creates one crisp horizontal edge that tricks the eye into reading a tighter, more lifted jawline than you actually have. Think of it as scaffolding, not softness. The eye trusts a clean line more than it trusts a blurry one, and it rewards that clean line by assuming the structure underneath is just as clean. This is the same trick architects use with a strong roofline. The eye reads confidence into a hard edge that it would never read into a soft, wandering one. One more thing that matters here. This cut photographs and reads well at any hair texture, from pin straight to naturally wavy, because the strength comes from the cut line, not from how the hair behaves that day. The fix. Ask for a blunt perimeter that hits about an inch below the jawline, with internal thinning, never visible layers cut into the top. Visible layers on top is how you end up with the mushroom shape, where the crown poofs and the ends flip out in every direction. Internal thinning removes weight from underneath without ever breaking that sharp, unbroken bottom line. The do-it-today trick. Tuck one side behind your ear. That's it. It instantly opens the face and puts your cheekbones back on display. No scissors, no appointment, no cost. But that's not even the mistake most women are making right now without knowing it. The next one is a habit I see in almost every over 60 closet of safe hairstyles. Hairstyle 2. The soft shag cut 2 tackles the opposite problem. Hair that's too done, too smooth, too symmetrical, too perfectly in place. I understand exactly why this happens. We were taught for decades that put together means every hair exactly where it should be, sprayed into position, nothing moving. But symmetry is the enemy of an aging face, because a perfectly still, perfectly round shape gives the eye absolutely nothing to do except study every fine line and every soft spot on your skin. Here's the mechanism, and it's worth slowing down for. A rounded, static cut is essentially a circle framing your face, and the eye settles on a circle. It studies it lingers there, the way it lingers on any closed, unbroken shape. A soft shag is built from diagonal, choppy layers instead, which creates constant visual movement across the whole head. When your hair is moving, catching light differently strand by strand, the eye follows that movement instead of settling on the fine lines around your eyes or the volume that's been lost at your cheeks. Add a curtain bang that starts at the bridge of your nose and sweeps outward toward your cheekbones, and you've built a frame that lifts the entire face. No filler, no procedure, just cutting. The fix. Ask your stylist for angled cutting, not straight across blunt cutting, throughout the shag. Angled cuts shatter the ends so they stack unevenly on top of each other, which creates the illusion of double the volume you actually have, and ask specifically for shorter layers cut into the crown, since that's usually the first place thinning shows up on women over 60. Shorter layers there create lift exactly where you need it most. If your hair has gone gray or silver, ask for the shag slightly longer than you think you want. Coarser, grayer hair holds a diagonal line beautifully, and it needs a little extra length for the movement to actually show once it's dry. The do-it-today trick. Air dry with a texturizing spray, then scrunch upward with your palms. Don't brush it smooth. Brushing kills the very movement you just paid for. And that's still not the one I promised you. That one's coming up in 2. Hairstyle 3. The modern pixie bob, Bixie. Quick one. Let's move fast on this one. Cut 3. Going short and assuming short automatically means giving up femininity. Uniform length all over. Cropped tight, spiked with gel. That's not a haircut. That's a surrender, and it's not necessary. The mechanism, fast. A shortcut that's the same length everywhere from front to back reads, again, as a circle. The same enemy from cut 2, just in miniature. The Bixie flips that completely. It's tight and tapered at the nape, but long and sweeping in the front. That length difference from back to front creates a diagonal line running across the whole head, and diagonal lines read as energy and forward motion, pulling every eye straight toward yours instead of settling anywhere on the neck or jaw. The fix. Ask for disconnected layers, with the top cut slightly shorter than the front sweep. That gap between lengths is what gives you natural lift without a single second of teasing or backcombing. The do-it-today trick. Rake a pea-sized amount of styling cream through with your fingers, working forward and down. Never up and back. Up and back is exactly where Granny Spike lives, and it undoes everything this cut is built to do. And if you're gray or silver already, don't fight the natural texture with heat tools. That wiry, coarser strand is exactly what makes this cut hold its shape all day without product. Hairstyle 4. The long layered lob, the one I promised. Here it is, the one I promised you. This is the mistake almost every woman over 60 is still making, and it's the sneakiest one on this entire list, because it doesn't even look like a mistake. It looks like you're doing the smart thing. Let me tell you about a woman I'll call Linda. Linda had worn her hair the same way since her 40s. Long, one length, parted down the middle, trimmed twice a year just to keep it healthy. She wasn't neglecting it. She loved her long hair, and she genuinely believed keeping it long was what kept her looking younger. When she finally sat in a stylist's chair and asked why photos of herself felt tired lately, the stylist didn't say a word. She just lifted a section of Linda's hair straight out from the scalp and let it drop. It fell like a curtain, flat, heavy, all in one motion, with nowhere to go. That's when it clicked for Linda. It was never the length, it was the weight. I understand the instinct completely. Long hair has probably felt like your signature for decades, and cutting it can feel like giving something up that you're not ready to give up. So let me be clear, this isn't about cutting it off. It's about what you're doing, or not doing, with the length you already have. Here's the mechanism. All one-length long hair carries weight, uninterrupted, from root to end, and weight pulls down. It drags at the temples. It drags at the crown. It drags at the corners of the mouth. It visually elongates every part of the face that gravity is already quietly working against. It isn't the length itself that ages you. Plenty of women in their 60s and 70s wear beautiful long hair. It's the lack of layering inside that length that does the damage, because uninterrupted weight has nowhere to go but down. The fix. Keep the length, collarbone or just below is perfectly fine, but ask for long, face-framing layers that start at the cheekbone, with the interior thinned so the ends actually move instead of hanging like a curtain. This is sometimes called the lived-in lob, long enough to feel youthful and familiar, layered enough to actually lift. The do-it-today trick, a loose, low ponytail with a few face-framing pieces pulled loose, does almost the identical lifting job on a day you don't feel like styling anything at all. Hairstyle 5, the textured crop with soft fringe. And this is the big one to close on, the cut most women write off entirely because they've only ever seen the harsh version of it. I understand why a short crop feels intimidating. The version most of us picture, chopped short, gelled flat, severe, looks more like punishment than style. But that's a styling failure. It's not a length failure, and it's not a you failure. Here's the mechanism. Short hair with no softening element pulls all visual attention straight to bone structure, with zero buffer between the eye and the face, which is unforgiving on a face that has changed shape gradually over the decades. Add a soft, textured fringe that skims just above the brow, and you create an actual buffer zone. It softens the forehead, it visually shortens a longer face, and most importantly, it draws the eye immediately toward your eyes, which is exactly where you want it to land first and stay longest. Think of it the way soft lighting works in a great photograph. It's not hiding anything, it's just deciding where the light falls first. The fix. Ask specifically for point cutting, not thinning shears, on the fringe and through the crown. Thinning shears create a fuzzy, uneven halo on aging hair texture that reads as frizz rather than softness. Point cutting gives you the same texture without any of that frizz. The do-it-today trick, work a dab of pomade only through the ends. Skip the roots completely. That single choice keeps the whole crop soft instead of severe. One more thing worth knowing. This cut tends to look better with each week that passes after the appointment, not worse, because the fringe softens as it grows out slightly. So don't panic if it feels a touch sharp on day one. Here's the real secret behind every single one of these 5 cuts. And once you hear it, you'll never look at a haircut the same way again. It isn't the shape, it's the diagonal line. Every cut that genuinely flatters a woman over 60 breaks the perfect circle somewhere. A blunt edge, a choppy layer, a sweeping fringe, a length difference from front to back. Circles and symmetry are what age you, because they give the eye nothing to do but linger on exactly what's changed over the years. Diagonals and asymmetry give the eye somewhere to travel instead, toward your cheekbones, toward your eyes, toward your jaw. This is the one question worth writing down before your next appointment. Does this cut break the circle somewhere? Not, is it flattering? Not, is it trendy? Does it break the circle? Ask a stylist that question directly, and watch their face. A true artist will already have an answer, usually pointing to exactly where on your head that diagonal is going to live. A granny cutter will look a little confused, because they've never had to think about it. They've just been repeating the same rounded shape on every client for 20 years. That reaction alone will tell you everything you need to know before a single cut is made. Every one of these 5 cuts has one thing in common. They work with where your face is right now, not against it, and not against some photo of who you used to be. None of them ask you to fight your age. They just ask you to stop hiding behind easy and usual. You've earned the right to walk into a salon and ask for exactly what you want, by name, with total confidence. That's not vanity, my loves. That's just refusing to disappear. A haircut isn't the whole story, but it's the fastest chapter you can rewrite, and you don't need permission from anyone to rewrite it this week. If this helped you see your hair differently, give it a like. It genuinely tells me to make more of these. Subscribe if you want a stylist in your corner every single week, and tell me in the comments, which of these 5 were you already wearing, and which one are you booking next? I read every single one.